Captain Jack Miller stood at attention before the massive curved table where the Galactic Council members sat. The room was cold, and the air felt heavy. 20 different alien species looked down at him from their raised seats. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with inner light. Jack tried to keep his face calm, but his heart beat fast. "Captain Miller of Earth," said the head counselor, a tall, thin being with gray skin. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision that concerns your species." Jack nodded. "I'm honored to represent humanity, Counselor." The head counselor's 6 fingers tapped on the table. "There is no easy way to say this. As of today, all humans are banned from taking part in any galactic wars or military actions." Jack blinked twice, sure he had heard wrong. "Banned, sir?" "Yes. Banned. This is not a request. It is an order." A murmur ran through the council chamber. Jack noticed several representatives nodding with clear relief on their faces. Others looked away as if embarrassed. "With all respect," Jack said, trying to keep his voice steady, "humans have only fought in 2 galactic wars. We joined the alliance against the Red Star Empire, and we helped stop the beetle swarms. We did our part, just like everyone else." The head counselor raised a hand. "Your understanding of events is limited, Captain." "Then help me understand," Jack said, his voice getting louder. "What did we do wrong? We followed all the rules of war. We never used banned weapons. We treated prisoners well." A blue-skinned council member leaned forward. "It is not what you did wrong, human, it is what you are." Jack's face grew hot. "And what exactly are we?" The head counselor stood up. "This decision is final. Earth forces will return to your solar system within 30 days. You may keep your defense fleet, but no human ships will join Alliance battles again." "For how long?" Jack asked. "Forever," said the head counselor. Jack looked around the room, searching for any friendly face. "We have a right to know why." The head counselor's voice turned cold. "For the safety of all civilizations, including your own. This meeting is over." Guards appeared at Jack's sides, not rough, but clearly there to escort him out. As he turned to leave, a small council member with bright orange eyes spoke up. "The human deserves to know." The room went quiet. The head counselor shook his head. "The decision was made. He fought beside my people at the Battle of Proxima Centauri," the orange-eyed alien said. "Many of my kind are still in healing chambers because of it. Not from enemy fire, but from fighting alongside them." Jack turned back. "What does that mean?" "We protected your ships." The orange-eyed council member looked sad. "Yes, and that is part of the problem." The guards moved Jack toward the door. His last view of the council was of beings whispering to each other, some looking afraid, others looking relieved. The doors closed behind him with a heavy sound that felt like the end of something important. 3 hours later, Jack sat in his quarters on the transport ship heading back to Earth. His message to Earth Command had been short. Council meeting ended badly. "Humans banned from galactic conflicts. No clear reason given. Will report in full upon return." His door chimed. "Enter," Jack called. The door slid open to reveal Tom, a blue-skinned Norvian who had fought beside Jack in 2 campaigns. Despite looking like a tall blue human with slightly larger eyes, Tom's species was from a planet 3,000 light-years from Earth. "I heard the news," Tom said, stepping inside. The door closed behind him. Jack waved him to a seat. "Have you come to explain what I apparently can't understand?" Tom sat down carefully. "The Council is afraid, Jack." "Of what?" "Humans have less advanced ships than half the Alliance. We're still new to space compared to most of you." "It's not your ships." Tom's large eyes looked troubled. "It's what happens when humans fight." Jack laughed without humor. "We fight like everyone else. We try to win without losing too many people." Tom shook his head slowly. "No, you don't fight like everyone else. That's the point." Jack stood up and paced the small room. "We've been in space for less than a century. We've fought in only 2 wars. How could we be so different?" Remember the Battle of Proxima Centauri? Tom asked. Of course. Your ships were surrounded. We broke through the enemy line to help you. And do you remember what happened to my squad after fighting next to your teams for 6 hours? Jack stopped pacing. Some of your people got sick. We thought it was a virus. It wasn't a virus. Tom's voice was quiet. It was you. All of you. That makes no sense. Tom stood up and moved to the door. I shouldn't be here, but you saved my life twice, so I owed you some kind of explanation. You haven't explained anything, Jack said. Tom looked back, his hand on the door control. Look up the medical reports from after that battle. Not just for my kind, but for all species who fought close to humans. Then you'll start to understand why the galaxy fears you. After Tom left, Jack sat in silence for a long time. Then he pulled out his tablet and sent a message to his old friend Dr. Lisa Reed. Need access to medical reports from Proxima Centauri battle. Focus on non-human casualties. Something's very wrong. He stared out the viewport at the stars streaming by. Humanity had worked so hard to join the galactic community. They had shared technology, traded goods, learned new languages, and fought side by side with alien allies. Now they were being sent home like children who had misbehaved, but no one would tell them what they had done wrong. This isn't over, Jack whispered to the stars. If there's something about us that scares the Council this much, we need to know what it is. The ship continued its journey toward Earth, carrying news that would shock human leaders and start Jack on a path to uncover the truth behind the ban, a truth about humanity that would change everything. 5 years had passed since the Galactic Council banned humans from all interstellar conflicts. Captain Jack Miller was no longer a captain. The Earth government had created a new department to find out why humans were banned, and Jack now led this small team. Their office was hidden deep under the old city of Denver. The room had no windows, and the walls were lined with screens showing data from across the galaxy. 4 people sat around a round table, all wearing serious faces. It's been 5 years, said Marcus Jones, tapping his fingers on the table. Once the best intelligence officer in Earth's fleet, Marcus now used his skills to gather secret information. 5 years, and we still don't have clear answers. Dr. Lisa Reed nodded, her eyes tired from studying alien medical reports. We know something happened at Proxima Centauri, but the medical data is heavily protected. I've only managed to get small pieces. Alex White, who had been a diplomat before joining Jack's team, looked up from his tablet. The council members still refuse to meet with us. Even our old allies avoid talking about the ban. Jack stood up and walked to the main screen. Today, that changes. Marcus has found something. Marcus smiled and pressed a button on his wrist device. The main screen lit up with a video. This is from the Battle of Proxima Centauri. It took me 3 years to find this footage. The team watched as the video showed a battle in space. Ships fired at each other with bright beams of energy. Then, the view changed to inside one of the ships. This is a human ship, Jack said, pointing at the crew members. Yes, Marcus said. But watch what happens when the battle gets intense. The video showed human soldiers fighting harder and harder as the battle got worse. Their movements became faster, their eyes more focused. They worked together in ways that seemed almost impossible. Now watch this, Marcus said, changing to another video. This is inside a Norvian ship during the same battle. The blue-skinned aliens fought bravely at first, but after fighting near humans for hours, something strange happened. The Norvians began to shake. Some fell to the ground. Others fired their weapons too quickly, wasting energy. They're breaking down, Lisa said quietly. Just like the medical report suggested. Marcus nodded. And it happened to every alien species that fought alongside humans for more than 4 hours. Alex leaned forward. But why? What are we doing to them? Jack turned off the video. That's what we need to find out, and I think I know where to look next. He pointed to a small dot on a star map. Station Alpha 7. It holds the galactic archives. Lisa's eyes widened. That's the most secure facility in the Alliance. No humans are allowed there anymore. Exactly, Jack said. Which means that's where they keep the truth. 3 weeks later, Jack's team arrived at Station Alpha 7 on a trade ship. They wore special masks that changed how they looked, making them appear as members of the trawl species, tall beings with gray skin. "Remember," Jack whispered as they walked through the busy station. "We have 8 hours before the masks stop working. We need to be gone by then." The team split up. Marcus went to find the security center. Lisa headed for the medical archives. Alex made his way to the diplomatic records section. Jack would try to access the military files. Jack moved through the quiet halls of the archive, his fake gray hands pressing against scanner panels that opened doors. His stolen access codes worked perfectly. Finally, he reached the military records room. "I'm in," he said quietly into his hidden communicator. "Medical archives accessed." Lisa's voice came back. "There's so much data here, Jack. I'm searching for Proxima Centauri reports now." "Security systems mapped," Marcus added. "I can buy us extra time if needed." "Diplomatic records are heavily guarded," Alex said, sounding worried. "But I've found a terminal I can use." Jack began searching through the military files. Most were locked with high-level codes, but he had prepared for this. He attached a small device to the computer terminal. The screen flickered, and suddenly, more files appeared. "I found something," he said. "Battle statistics from all conflicts involving humans." He downloaded the data quickly, his eyes scanning the numbers. "This is strange. According to these reports, human-led squads were 300% more effective than predicted." "That's impossible." "Jack," Lisa's voice came through, excited. "I found medical reports. They show unusual brain patterns in aliens who fought with humans. Their minds were somehow being pushed beyond normal limits. The diplomatic records show secret meetings after Proxima Centauri," Alex added. "The council was scared. They called it the human factor and classified everything about it." "The human factor?" Jack repeated. "Can you copy those files?" "Working on it," Alex said. Then his voice changed. "Someone's coming. I think they've..." A loud alarm started blaring throughout the station. "We've been discovered," Marcus said, his voice tense. "Security teams are moving toward Alex's position." "Alex, get out of there," Jack ordered, disconnecting his device from the terminal. "Too late," Alex replied. "But I got the files. Sending them to your devices now. Get to the ship." Jack ran through the halls, his heart pounding. The mask on his face felt hot, a warning that it might fail soon. He turned a corner and nearly ran into 2 security guards. "Excuse me," he said, trying to sound calm. "What's happening?" "Intruder alert," one guard said. "All non-essential personnel should return to their quarters." Jack nodded and walked past them, forcing himself not to run. As soon as they were out of sight, he sprinted toward the docking area. Lisa and Marcus were already there, waiting by the trade ship. Their faces showed their worry. "Where's Alex?" Lisa asked. "He'll make it," Jack said, but he wasn't sure. The minutes passed slowly. The alarm continued to sound. Then, just as Jack was about to give up hope, Alex appeared, running toward them, with 3 guards chasing him. "Go," Alex shouted. "I'll hold them off." "No," Jack yelled, but Marcus pulled him into the ship. "He knew the risks," Marcus said, starting the launch sequence. Through the viewport, they watched as Alex fought the guards, giving them time to escape. The last thing they saw before the ship pulled away was Alex being surrounded by security forces. "He sacrificed himself for the mission," Lisa said quietly as the ship accelerated away from the station. Jack stared at the small data device in his hand. "Then we'd better make sure his sacrifice wasn't wasted. Let's see what's in these files called the human factor." As their ship raced toward their hidden base on Titan, Jack couldn't help feeling that they were about to discover something about humanity that would change everything they thought they knew about themselves. The small ship landed quietly on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Jack, Lisa, and Marcus stepped out into the dome that protected their secret base from the moon's harsh environment. Through the clear ceiling, Saturn's rings glowed against the black sky. "I still can't believe we left Alex behind," Lisa said, her voice low. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. He made his choice. Now we need to make it count. The base was small but well equipped. The main room had several computer stations and a large table in the center. Marcus went straight to the main computer and inserted the data device. The files are encrypted, he said, his fingers moving quickly over the keyboard. But nothing I can't handle. Jack paced the room while they waited. Alex called these files the human factor. What could that possibly mean? Lisa sat down at another station. Whatever it is, it made the Council ban our entire species from galactic conflicts. It must be serious. Got it, Marcus shouted after an hour of work. The main screen lit up with dozens of files. Let's see what we have here. The first files were medical reports, similar to what Lisa had found but more detailed. They showed brain scans of different alien species before and after fighting alongside humans. Look at these patterns, Lisa said, pointing to colorful images of alien brains. Their neural activity is completely different after combat with humans nearby. Marcus opened another file. This one showed videos from various battles. The team watched in silence as human soldiers fought. The videos had special data overlays showing heart rates, brain activity, and other measurements. What are we looking for? Jack asked. Wait for it, Marcus said, pointing at the screen. There. The data showed something strange happening to the humans as the battles got more intense. Their brain patterns changed. Their bodies released chemicals. Their movements became more coordinated. They're calling it combat escalation drive, Lisa said, reading from another file. Apparently it's unique to humans. Jack frowned. Combat escalation drive? What does that mean? Lisa opened more medical files and studied them. According to these reports, when most alien species fight, they reach a certain level of intensity and then plateau. Their bodies have natural limits that prevent them from pushing too hard. But humans don't have these limits? Jack asked. No, Lisa said, her voice filled with wonder. Humans keep escalating. The longer and harder the fight, the more intense we become. We enter what they're calling the zone, a mental state that other species physically cannot achieve. Marcus pulled up comparison charts. Look at these statistics. In every battle, human performance increased the longer the fighting continued. All other species either maintained their level or decreased due to fatigue. Jack sat down heavily, in a chair. So we keep getting better as the fight goes on. Is that really so scary? Lisa's face had gone pale as she read more files. Jack, it's not just about us. When we fight alongside other species, we somehow push them past their natural limits too. We make them better fighters? Jack asked. We break them, Lisa said, quietly. Their minds aren't built to handle our level of combat intensity. That's why the Norvians at Proxima Centauri collapsed. Fighting near humans forced their minds into patterns they couldn't sustain. Marcus opened another file. This one showed footage of an enemy ship surrendering to a human vessel, even though the enemy still had superior numbers and firepower. It wasn't just our allies, Marcus said. Enemy forces would rather surrender than face humans in extended combat. We scared them that badly. Jack remembered the orange-eyed council members' words. Many of my kind are still in healing chambers, because of it. Not from enemy fire, but from fighting alongside them. Now it makes sense, Jack said. The council didn't ban us because we were bad at fighting. They banned us because we were too good in a way that hurt everyone else. Lisa nodded. For thousands of years, the galaxy has had a certain way of fighting wars. Limited conflicts, with clear rules. Species reach their maximum fighting ability, then the side with better technology or numbers usually wins. But humans break that pattern, Marcus added. We keep escalating until we win or die trying, and we pull others along with us, damaging them in the process. Jack stood up and walked to a viewport looking out at the stars. So the galaxy had nice, controlled wars until humans showed up and fought like humans. Exactly, Lisa said. The files show the Council was terrified after Proxima Centauri. Some members wanted to quarantine Earth completely. Marcus opened the final file, which contained minutes from a secret council meeting. Listen to this. The human combat escalation ability disrupts the balance of conflict that is maintained. Galactic peace for millennia. If left unchecked, all future wars involving humans will result in total victory or total defeat, with unacceptable casualties on all sides. The room fell silent as the team processed what they had learned. "They're afraid of us," Jack finally said. "Not because we're evil, but because we fight differently than anyone else in the galaxy. And because we change how others fight when they're around us," Lisa added. "We're like a combat infection, spreading our intensity to allies and enemies alike." Marcus shut down the files. "So what do we do with this information? Go public? The Earth government might see this as a compliment, not a problem." Jack shook his head. "No. The galaxy banned us for a reason. If we just announce this to everyone, it could make things worse." He turned to face his team. "We need to understand more. Not just how we're different, but why. And most importantly, if there's a way we can fight alongside others without harming them." Lisa nodded. "I'll start analyzing the medical data in more detail. Maybe there's a way to shield other species from our influence." "And I'll keep digging," Marcus said. "There might be more files we haven't found yet." Jack looked back at the stars. Something about this still bothered him. Humans had fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. They had always been intense, escalating fighters. It was part of who they were. Could they really change that? Should they? Before he could share these thoughts, an alarm sounded. Marcus rushed to the computer. "Emergency broadcast from Earth," he said, his voice tense. "Something's attacking systems on the edge of Alliance space. Something big." The screen showed distant images of entire planets being consumed by a dark cloud. "It's called the Void Swarm," Marcus read from the report. "And Alliance forces are failing to stop it." Jack looked at his team. "This changes everything. The galaxy banned us from their wars. But what happens when they start losing one?" The news about the Void Swarm spread quickly. Jack and his team watched report after report on their screens. The Void Swarm wasn't an army or a species. It was more like a hungry cloud of darkness that ate everything in its path. Planets, ships, even stars weren't safe. 3 systems gone in 2 weeks, Marcus said, pointing to a map. The Alliance fleet is trying to stop it, but nothing works for long. Lisa studied the reports. It's adapting to their weapons. Each attack works once, then the swarm changes to defend against it. Jack paced the room. "And Earth? Are we in danger?" "Not yet," Marcus replied. "The swarm is still far away, but if it keeps moving at this speed and the Alliance can't stop it..." Jack didn't need him to finish the sentence. They all knew what it meant. "We need to contact Earth Command," Jack said. "They need to know what we've learned about the human combat factor. It might be important now." 2 days later, Jack stood before the Earth Defense Council in a secure room deep under the old United Nations building in New York. The room was filled with military leaders and government officials, all with worried faces. "Captain Miller," said General Patel, head of Earth's Defense Forces. "Your report about why humans were banned is interesting, but why is it important now?" Jack stepped forward. "Because the Void Swarm is beating the Alliance, and we might be the only ones who can stop it." Murmurs filled the room. Admiral Wright, an older woman with short gray hair, spoke up. "The Alliance banned us. Why would they ask for our help now?" "They haven't asked yet," Jack admitted, "but they will. The question is, what will we say when they do?" General Patel frowned. "Are you suggesting we should help the same people who sent us away?" Jack nodded. "Yes, but with conditions. We know why they fear us now. We can use that knowledge to help without harming our allies." He explained what his team had discovered about the human combat escalation drive and how it affected other species. The room was silent when he finished. "So we fight too hard for them," Admiral Wright said finally. "And we make them fight too hard too." "Exactly," Jack replied. "But Dr. Reed has an idea that might help." He nodded to Lisa, who stepped forward. Lisa held up a small device. "This is a neural buffer. It creates a field that should protect alien minds from the effects of human combat escalation. It won't stop us from fighting at our best, but it should keep our allies safe." Before anyone could respond, an aide rushed into the room and handed General Patel a message. The general read it, his face growing serious. "It seems you were right, Captain Miller," he said. "The Galactic Council has called an emergency meeting. They want to talk about temporarily lifting the ban on human forces." 3 days later, Jack found himself back in the Galactic Council chamber. This time, he wasn't alone. General Patel stood beside him, along with Lisa and a team of Earth's best military minds. The chamber felt different now. The council members didn't look down on the humans with disgust or fear. Instead, their faces showed something new: desperation. The head counselor spoke first. "The Alliance faces an unprecedented threat. The Void Swarm has destroyed 5 systems and shows no signs of stopping. Our forces are—" He paused. "Not sufficient." "You mean they're losing?" General Patel said bluntly. The head counselor nodded. "Yes, we are losing. And so, with great reluctance, we are considering a temporary exception to the human ban." Jack stepped forward. "We've learned why you banned us, we understand your concerns, and we have a solution." Lisa explained the neural buffers and how they would work. The council listened carefully, some members showing the first signs of hope. "If these buffers work," the orange-eyed counselor said, "we could fight together without the harmful effects we saw at Proxima Centauri." "That's the idea," Jack said. "Let us help you. Let us do what we do best." After hours of debate, the council agreed. A small human force would join the next battle against the swarm, with Lisa's neural buffers in place and strict oversight from the council. 2 weeks later, Jack stood on the bridge of the Earthship Defender, leading a fleet of 20 human vessels. Around them, ships from a dozen Alliance species formed a battle line against the approaching Void Swarm. "Neural buffers active on all ships," Lisa reported from her station. "All weapons ready," Marcus added from Tactical. Jack looked at the dark cloud appearing on their screens. It moved like a living thing, reaching out with tendrils of darkness toward the Alliance ships. "Remember," Jack said to his crew, "we fight our way, but we watch out for our allies. The buffers should help, but let's be careful." The battle began. Human ships dove into the fight with the intensity that came naturally to them. The neural buffers glowed on Alliance ships, creating a barrier between them and the human combat. Influence. For the first few hours, it worked perfectly. The human ships hit the swarm hard, finding weaknesses and exploiting them. Alliance ships followed up, protected by the buffers, but then something changed. The swarm adapted, just as it had before. New patterns formed in the dark cloud, targeting the human ship specifically. "It's learning," Marcus shouted over the alarms. "It's focusing on us now." Jack watched as 3 human ships were surrounded by the darkness. Then he saw something even worse. Several Alliance ships had moved in to help the surrounded humans. Their neural buffers were flickering, failing under the strain. "Pull back," Jack ordered. "All human ships, pull back. The buffers aren't holding." But it was too late for some. On his screen, Jack saw Alliance ships where the buffers had failed completely. The alien crews were fighting with human-like intensity, now pushing beyond their limits. When the battle finally ended, the Alliance had pushed the swarm back, but at a terrible cost. 5 human ships were lost, along with 12 Alliance vessels. And worst of all, hundreds of alien crew members were suffering from neural damage, just like after Proxima Centauri. In the medical bay of the Defender, Jack watched as Lisa checked on injured Alliance soldiers who had been rescued. "The buffers weren't strong enough," she said sadly. "When the swarm adapted its attack, the stress was too much." Jack nodded. "And now we're back where we started. The Alliance won a battle but lost too many people. And once again, it's because of us." Marcus entered the medical bay, his face grim. "The swarm has changed direction. It's regrouping, getting stronger. The Alliance fleet is falling back to regroup too." Jack looked at the injured aliens in the medical bay, then at his own tired crew. The swarm was learning, adapting, and the one advantage humans had, their unique way of fighting, couldn't be used without hurting their allies. "We need a new plan," Jack said quietly. "Something the Council won't like, but might be our only choice." "What are you thinking?" Lisa asked. Jack's eyes were determined. If we can't fight alongside the Alliance without hurting them, then maybe we need to fight alone. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was tense. After the failed battle against the Void Swarm, many council members wanted to reinstate the ban on humans immediately. The head counselor had to bang his gavel several times to quiet the angry voices. Jack stood before them, his face showing the tiredness of someone who had seen too much fighting. Behind him stood General Patel, Lisa, and Marcus. The neural buffers failed, the orange-eyed counselor said. Once again, alien crews suffered because of human influence. We understand that, Jack said, and that's why we're proposing something different. General Patel stepped forward. We suggest creating an all-human force to engage the swarm directly. No mixed crews, no Alliance ships nearby. Just humans fighting the way humans fight best. The room erupted with voices. The head counselor finally restored order. You want us to unleash a pure human fighting force? He asked, his voice filled with disbelief. The very thing we have worked so hard to prevent? Yes, Jack said simply. Because it's the only way to beat the swarm. A tall, thin counselor with green skin stood up. And what happens after? If we create an unstoppable human war machine, what's to prevent you from turning on the rest of us? Jack looked around the room, realizing the deep fear these beings had of humans. You've only seen half of what makes humans unique, he said. You've seen our escalation in battle, but you've missed something just as important. He nodded to Lisa, who activated a display in the center of the chamber. Images appeared, showing scenes from Earth's history. These are from wars on our planet, Jack explained. Look what happens after these conflicts ended. The images showed former enemies helping each other rebuild. Soldiers who had fought each other now working together to build homes and schools. Former battlefields turned into parks, where children played. Humans have a unique ability to escalate violence when threatened, Jack said. But we also have a unique ability to de-escalate when the threat is gone. We can stand down voluntarily even at the height of our power. The council members watched in silence as more images appeared. Peace treaties being signed. Former enemies becoming allies. Weapons being destroyed in public ceremonies. This is our true nature, Jack continued. Not just how we fight, but how we stop fighting. We call it our de-escalation mechanism. The ability to turn away from war once victory is achieved. Lisa stepped forward. In our research, we found this trait is as unique to humans as our combat escalation. Other species either continue fighting until forced to stop, or never reach our level of intensity in the first place. The orange-eyed counselor leaned forward. Are you saying humans can control this combat drive? Yes, Jack said firmly. We can turn it on when needed and turn it off when the job is done. General Patel added, we don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to help save it. Let us fight the swarm our way, and when it's over, we'll stand down. You have my word. As the leader of Earth's defense forces. The council withdrew to debate. Hours passed as Jack and his team waited outside the chamber. Finally, they were called back in. The head counselor looked tired but determined. We have decided to accept your proposal with conditions. A human-only force will engage the swarm, with council monitors observing from a safe distance. But at the first sign that humans cannot or will not de-escalate after victory, the council will take extreme measures. Jack nodded. We understand. And we accept. 3 weeks later, a fleet of 100 human ships formed a battle line before the advancing void swarm. Every ship was crewed entirely by humans. There were no allies nearby, no one to be affected by human combat intensity. From the bridge of the flagship Freedom, Jack watched the swarm approach. It had grown larger, consuming 2 more systems since the last battle. All ships report ready, Marcus said from his station. Neural scan shows all crews at optimal readiness, Lisa added. The council observation ship is at safe distance. Jack took a deep breath. This is it. Let's show them what humans can really do. All ships engage at will. The battle that followed would become legendary in the history of the galaxy. Human ships fought with an intensity never seen before. As the battle grew harder, the humans pushed themselves further. When the swarm adapted to their tactics, they created new ones on the spot. Hour after hour, the battle raged. The swarm tried to surround them, tried to pick off ships one by one, tried to flee and regroup, but the human fleet stayed with it, never letting up, never reaching that plateau that other species hit. From the observation ship, the council members watched in awe and fear as humans demonstrated the full extent of their combat capabilities, without any restraint. Finally, after 18 hours of non-stop fighting, the swarm began to break apart. Its adaptive patterns failed against the constantly changing human attacks. Ship after ship reported successful strikes against the swarm's core units. "We've got them," Marcus shouted as the swarm's main body began to collapse in on itself. Jack watched the final moments of the battle. The swarm, which had destroyed entire systems and defeated the best the Alliance could offer, was dying before his eyes. Then came the moment the Council feared most, the moment when humans, at the height of their battle frenzy, had achieved total victory. Jack closed his eyes briefly, then opened them with a new calmness. "All ships, this is Captain Miller. The swarm is defeated. Stand down from combat operations. I repeat, stand down. Activate de-escalation protocols." Across the human fleet, crews that had been pushing themselves to the edge of human capability began the practiced process of standing down. Special breathing techniques, meditation, and trained mental exercises helped them step back from the combat mindset. On the Council observation ship, monitors showed human vital signs returning to normal, brain patterns shifting away from combat mode, heart rate slowing. The head counselor turned to his colleagues. "They're actually doing it. They're standing down, just as they promised." 1 month later, Jack stood once again before the Galactic Council. This time he was welcomed as a hero. The head counselor's voice was solemn. "The galaxy owes humans a debt we can never fully repay. You have saved countless lives and worlds." Jack nodded. "And now, as promised, our fleet has returned to Earth space. The human combat force has been disbanded." "That is remarkable," the orange-eyed counselor said. "Your species keeps surprising us." The head counselor stood. "We have reached a new decision regarding humans. The complete ban on human military involvement is lifted. Instead, humans will serve as special crisis responders, called upon only in the most dire circumstances." Jack smiled. "We accept this role with honor." As the meeting ended, the orange-eyed counselor approached Jack privately. "Now we understand everything about you humans," he said. "You weren't banned because you were dangerous in war. You were banned because we couldn't comprehend a species capable of both such extreme escalation and complete voluntary de-escalation." "That's what makes us human," Jack replied simply. The counselor nodded. "And that's what terrifies and inspires us. Your capacity for violence frightens us, but your ability to choose peace gives us hope. Perhaps in time we can learn from each other." As Jack left the council chamber, he thought about humanity's new place in the galaxy. They would no longer be feared and misunderstood, but respected for their unique abilities. The ban had been lifted not because the galaxy had changed, but because they finally understood what humans truly were. Creatures of both war and peace, capable of fighting with unmatched intensity and then putting their weapons down by choice. It was a new beginning for humanity among the stars. The alarm blared through the quiet monitoring station nestled in the mountains of Colorado. Red lights flashed as computers processed the unusual data streaming in from the deep space array. Commander Tom Walker rushed into the control room, his coffee splashing onto the floor. "What have we got?" he asked, leaning over the main console where Dr. Lisa Reed was typing rapidly. "Something near Jupiter's orbit," she said without looking up. "The signal pattern is unlike anything we've ever recorded. It's structured, too regular to be natural." Tom studied the screen, his brow furrowing. The readouts showed energy signatures that pulsed in a distinct pattern. After 20 years at Deep Space Monitoring Station Alpha, he had seen his share of cosmic oddities, but this was different. Could it be a malfunction? He asked, though he already suspected the answer. Lisa shook her head. We've confirmed it with 3 separate arrays. Something is out there, Tom. Something that doesn't belong in our solar system. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The other technicians had stopped their work to listen. For years, humanity had sent signals into the depths of space hoping for a response. Now it seemed someone had answered. "Get me a direct line to Space Command," Tom ordered, "and prepare the enhanced scanning protocols. I want to know everything about whatever's out there." Within hours, the station was buzzing with activity. Military personnel arrived, along with government officials in dark suits who spoke in hushed tones. The discovery had been classified immediately, but rumors were already spreading. 3 days of intensive monitoring revealed more details. The objects, there were 7 of them, were in stationary positions around Jupiter's moons. They emitted energy signatures that suggested advanced propulsion systems far beyond Earth's current technology. "They're watching us," Lisa said during a briefing with military leaders. She pointed to a simulation showing the object's positioning. "These aren't random placements. They're positioned to monitor all traffic between Earth and the outer planets." General Harris, a stern-faced man with gray hair, leaned forward. "Are they a threat?" Tom exchanged a glance with Lisa before answering. "We don't know yet. But they haven't made any aggressive moves. In fact," he hesitated. "What is it, Commander?" the general prompted. "They seem to be waiting for something, possibly for us to contact them." The decision to attempt communication was not made lightly. World leaders debated for days while scientists prepared a message that would demonstrate humanity's peaceful intentions while conveying basic mathematical and scientific principles, a universal language. When the message was finally sent, the response came almost immediately, too quickly. "They were ready for us," Lisa whispered as the alien transmission was decoded. "They've been studying our communications for some time." The message was simple but chilling in its implications. "We see you. We will come. Prepare." Within a week, one of the objects had left Jupiter's orbit and was moving toward Earth. Panic spread through government circles, but the object's trajectory suggested it would enter Earth orbit rather than impact the planet. "They're sending an envoy," Tom suggested during an emergency meeting at the United Nations Space Council. This could be first contact. Representatives from every space-capable nation had gathered in New York. The atmosphere was tense, filled with both fear and excitement. "We should prepare our defenses," said the Russian delegate. "These visitors may not come in peace." "Or we could welcome them as friends," countered the representative from India. This could be the greatest moment in human history. As the delegates argued, Lisa analyzed new data from the approaching vessel. "There's something odd about their propulsion system," she told Tom privately. "It's generating waste energy that's being deliberately vented toward Earth, almost like..." "Like what?" Tom asked. "Like they're scanning us. Every city, every military installation, they're mapping everything." The alien vessel entered Earth orbit exactly 14 days after first detection. It positioned itself above the Pacific Ocean, visible as a bright star even in daylight. Then it sent another message. "We are the Graken. We come to evaluate. Stand ready." The message was broadcast simultaneously on every electronic device on Earth, in all languages. Panic gave way to awe as people around the world looked to the sky. The United Nations hastily assembled a welcome committee comprised of scientists, diplomats, and military observers. Tom and Lisa were among those selected to make first contact. "I never thought I'd be meeting aliens when I signed up for space monitoring," Tom said as they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the International Space Station, where the meeting would take place. Lisa smiled nervously. "I always hoped, but now that it's happening," she left the thought unfinished. The Graken ambassador arrived in a small craft that docked with perfect precision. When the airlock opened, humanity had its first glimpse of an alien species. The Graken stood nearly 7 feet tall, with smooth, gray skin that seemed to shimmer. 4 arms extended from a torso that tapered to a narrow waist. The face was almost human-like, with large pupilless eyes that reflected like mirrors. "We greet you in peace," said the head of the UN delegation. The Graken tilted its head, studying them. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Peace is a luxury of the powerful, it said. You are not powerful, but you may be useful. The word sent a chill through the gathered humans. Tom noticed Lisa frowning as she studied readings on her tablet. Their biology is incredible, she whispered. But these energy readings coming from their suit, they match the scanning patterns we detected. The Graken continued, explaining that they represented an interstellar alliance of species that had existed for thousands of years. Earth was being considered for membership, a great honor, they were told. We will observe your world. We will evaluate your worth. Prepare to receive our assessment team. After the Graken returned to their ship, the human delegation was left with more questions than answers. As they returned to Earth, Tom pulled Lisa aside. What do you think? He asked. Lisa's expression was troubled. They're hiding something. Did you notice how they avoided all questions about their alliance's structure? And that comment about peace? Tom nodded. I noticed. We need to be careful here. As they looked out the shuttle window at the alien ship gleaming in orbit, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just entered a dangerous game, one whose rules they didn't yet understand. Back on Earth, as night fell over the monitoring station, new signals were detected. More Graken ships were entering the solar system. The discovery had only just begun, and already Earth's future hung in the balance. 3 weeks after first contact, Earth's skies had changed. Graken vessels hung in orbit like new stars, visible even in daylight. The initial fear had given way to an uneasy acceptance as the aliens established what they called observation posts in major cities around the world. Dr. Lisa Reed hunched over her terminal in the secure underground lab that had been hastily established beneath the Colorado monitoring station. Her eyes burned from staring at screens for hours, analyzing data from the Graken communications. Found anything new? Commander Tom Walker asked, placing a cup of coffee beside her. Lisa rubbed her eyes. Yes, and I don't like it. Look at these transmission patterns. She pointed to a series of graphs showing signal bursts between the Graken ships. They're reporting back to someone, a lot. And the data packages are huge, far larger than needed for simple status updates. Tom frowned. What do you think they're sending? Scans. Detailed scans of everything. Our technology, military capabilities, resource locations. She pulled up another screen. And look at this. I've been comparing their public statements with their internal communications that we've managed to intercept. The screen showed 2 columns of text with key phrases highlighted. They keep telling us they're here to evaluate us for membership, but in their private communications, they use terms that translate more accurately to assessment for utilization. Tom's expression darkened. That doesn't sound like they're looking for partners. It gets worse, Lisa said, lowering her voice even though they were alone. Major Stone from Intelligence sent this over an hour ago. She pulled up an image showing a Graken meeting with representatives from the United Nations. The picture had been enhanced to show a holographic display visible only on the Graken side of the table. They're categorizing Earth's regions by resource value, Tom said slowly. Those numbers, they're calculating extraction potentials. The door to the lab slid open and Major Jack Stone entered. The military intelligence officer carried himself with the rigid posture of someone who rarely relaxed. Today, his normally stern face looked grim. I see Dr. Reed has shown you our latest finding, he said. We've got more. He inserted a secure drive into Lisa's terminal. A series of images appeared, satellite photos of the dark side of the moon. What am I looking at? Tom asked. Construction. The Graken are building something on the far side of the moon. We only caught it because one of our deep space probes happened to be positioned correctly. Lisa zoomed in on the images. Those look like weapon platforms. That's our assessment too, Stone confirmed. And there's more. We've decoded some of their databases. The Graken have done this before. Many times. He pulled up a star map with dozens of highlighted systems. Each of these marks a civilization that was invited to join the alliance. Notice anything about the most recent ones? Lisa studied the map. No outgoing communications. They're silent. Exactly. Once the Graken incorporate a world into their alliance, all independent communications cease. They control everything. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. They're not building an alliance. They're building an empire. And we're next on their list, Stone added. The three sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the discovery heavy on their shoulders. We need to bring this to the Security Council, Tom finally said. The world needs to know what we're really dealing with. 2 days later, Earth's United Space Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from all nations attended, along with military leaders and scientific advisors. The mood was tense as Tom, Lisa, and Major Stone presented their findings. The evidence is clear, Stone concluded. The Graken's intentions are not peaceful cooperation but systematic exploitation. Their history suggests they will strip our resources and likely relocate significant portions of our population to serve their needs elsewhere. The council chamber erupted in heated discussion. Some nations were already benefiting from limited Graken technology exchanges and argued for continued cooperation. Others demanded immediate action. After hours of debate, the vote was nearly unanimous. Earth would issue a formal warning to the Graken to cease all activities that could be interpreted as preparations for resource extraction or military action. The Graken representative was summoned to receive Earth's message. The tall alien stood impassively as the council president read the formal statement. We value peaceful exchange between our peoples, but we have evidence of activities inconsistent with your stated purposes. Earth demands an immediate halt to all unauthorized construction in our solar system and full disclosure of your intentions. We warn you that humanity will defend itself if threatened. The Graken's reflective eyes showed no emotion. When it spoke, its voice carried a hint of amusement. Your concerns are noted. They are, however, misplaced. Primitive species often mistake preparation for aggression. The alien turned to address the entire council. Your world is small. Your understanding is limited. The Alliance offers protection and advancement. Resistance offers nothing but delay. After the Graken left, Major Stone slammed his fist on the table. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. They think we're too weak to stop them. Perhaps we are, said the French representative. Their technology is far beyond ours. Lisa, who had been quiet throughout the exchange, finally spoke up. Maybe not as far as they think. All eyes turned to her. For weeks I've been analyzing their communications and technology. They're advanced, yes, but they're also arrogant. They don't encrypt their transmissions well because they don't believe we can intercept them. They don't hide their intentions because they don't think we can stop them. She pulled up a series of technical specifications on the main display. We've learned more about advanced propulsion, energy weapons, and shield technology in 3 weeks than we would have discovered in 50 years on our own. And we've been making our own advances they know nothing about. Major Stone nodded slowly. Project Mothership. The room fell silent at the mention of the classified program. What exactly is Project Mothership? Asked the Chinese representative. Tom looked to the council president, who gave a slight nod. Insurance, Tom said simply. For the past 15 years, Earth's nations have been secretly cooperating on a defensive measure of last resort. A vessel, unlike anything humanity has built before. Where is this vessel? Someone asked. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. Where they would never think to look. Outside the council chamber, night had fallen over New York. Above, the Graken ships glowed in the darkness. Unknown to the aliens, deep within secure facilities around the world, engineers and scientists began working around the clock. Project Mothership, once a contingency, was now being prepared for activation. In orbit, the Graken observed Earth's activities with growing interest. They had encountered resistance before but never expected it from such a young species. They sent a message to their distant homeworld. Assessment proceeding. Minor resistance encountered. Submission expected within standard time frame. They could not have been more wrong. The Graken vessels multiplied in Earth's orbit with each passing day. What had started as 7 ships now numbered nearly 50, their sleek hulls glinting in the sunlight as they took positions around the planet. On the ground, their observation posts had expanded into small bases, always built in strategic locations near major resources or population centers. Commander Tom Walker stood before the United Space Council, his uniform crisp despite having slept only a few hours in the past 3 days. "The Graken are no longer pretending," he said, gesturing to the holographic display showing their positions. "They've established a full blockade formation. Any ship trying to leave Earth's atmosphere must now request permission and accept Graken escorts." "What about the Mars colony?" asked the representative from Brazil. "Cut off," Tom replied grimly. "We've lost direct communication. The Graken claim they're facilitating our exchanges, but we know they're filtering everything." Dr. Lisa Reed stepped forward, her usual lab coat replaced by a formal suit for this high-level meeting. "We've decoded more of their communications," she said. "They're discussing what they call population management scenarios, based on similar patterns from other worlds they've conquered. This means relocation of humans to labor operations on other planets." The room filled with angry murmurs. 2 months ago, such statements would have seemed like science fiction. Now they were facing a grim reality. Major Jack Stone activated the room's secure mode, which created an electromagnetic shield against any possible eavesdropping, alien or otherwise. "We need to make our move soon," he said once the security lights turned green. "The mothership is nearly ready, but the Graken are accelerating their timeline. Their fleet movements suggest they're preparing for the next phase." The council president nodded. "We need more information about their immediate plans. Commander Walker, I believe you proposed a mission?" Tom straightened. "Yes, Madam President. The Graken have invited Earth representatives to tour what they call their command vessel. They claim it's a gesture of goodwill to demonstrate their peaceful technology. I propose we accept, but use it as an opportunity to gather critical intelligence." "It could be a trap," warned the Russian representative. "Almost certainly," Tom agreed, "but it's also our best chance to learn their weaknesses before they strike." 3 days later, Tom led a small delegation to the massive Graken vessel that had positioned itself directly above the North Atlantic. The alien shuttle that carried them had no windows, leaving the humans disoriented as they felt the craft dock. With the larger ship, the Graken escort, taller than the others they had seen, led them through corridors lined with strange pulsing technology. The air smelled of ozone and something else. Something alien. "You see our peaceful intentions," the Graken said, its voice resonating oddly in the metallic passageway. "We open our home to you." Tom noticed how carefully controlled their tour was. Certain doorways were clearly off limits, and their path seemed prearranged to show only specific areas. "What powers your vessels?" he asked, trying to sound merely curious. "Energy you cannot yet comprehend," the Graken replied dismissively. Lisa, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the risks, was scanning discreetly with a device hidden in her sleeve. She caught Tom's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod. The sensors were working. As they passed a junction, Tom pretended to stumble, bumping into the wall. In the moment of confusion, Lisa slipped a tiny device into a seam in the corridor's paneling. "My apologies," Tom said to their escort. "Your artificial gravity takes some getting used to." The Graken stared at him with those reflective eyes. "Yes, many species find adaptation difficult." The tour continued through what appeared to be living quarters and scientific labs. Everything seemed designed to impress the humans with Graken superiority while revealing nothing of real value. Until the accident. A sudden lurch shook the vessel, throwing everyone against the walls. Alarms began blaring, not the controlled demonstration the Graken had planned, but something genuine. In the chaos, Tom noticed a previously sealed door had slid partly open. Through the gap he could see what was unmistakably a weapons bay. Massive cannons, far larger than anything their escort had shown them, were being prepared for deployment. The Graken moved quickly to reseal the door, but Tom had seen enough. He exchanged glances with Lisa, who had also noticed. "A minor systems adjustment," their escort explained smoothly. "Nothing of concern." The rest of the tour was cut short, and the humans were quickly returned to Earth. As their shuttle descended, through the atmosphere, no one spoke. They all knew what they had seen. Back at the secure facility in Colorado, Lisa downloaded the data from her hidden sensors while Tom reported to the Space Council via secure channel. "They're lying about everything," he concluded. "The weapons we saw weren't defensive, they were planet killers. And according to Dr. Reed's scans, they're preparing for full deployment." Lisa looked up from her computer. "It's worse than that. I managed to access a small portion of their command systems during that alarm. They've already designated Earth's major cities as primary targets. They're planning to hit our power grids first, then military installations." Major Stone's face was stone-like as he processed this information. "How long do we have?" Lisa's expression was grim. "Days, not weeks." The council president made the decision they had all been preparing for. Initiate Project Mothership, full activation protocol. Across the globe, hidden facilities hummed with activity. Deep beneath the world's oceans, in mountain bunkers and in secret desert installations, the components of humanity's last hope were being finalized. That night, major cities around the world experienced sudden power outages. The Graken had begun their first phase, testing Earth's vulnerabilities. When power was restored hours later, the Graken representative addressed the United Nations. "We regret the inconvenience your people experienced," the alien said without a hint of regret in its voice. "Your power systems are primitive and unstable. The Alliance offers its protection and technology in exchange for unrestricted access to your planet's resources. This is a generous offer. The alternative would be unfortunate." It was an ultimatum, thinly disguised as diplomacy. The UN Secretary-General stood to respond. "Humanity appreciates your offer, but we must decline. Earth's resources belong to Earth. We request that you remove your vessels from our orbit immediately." The Graken's reflective eyes showed nothing. "You misunderstand." This was not a negotiation. As the alien departed, emergency alerts began sounding across the planet. More power grids were failing. Communications networks crashed. It was a demonstration of power, a taste of what would follow if Earth continued to resist. In the secure bunker beneath Colorado, Tom, Lisa, and Major Stone watched the situation deteriorate on monitors. "It's time," Stone said quietly. Tom nodded and picked up a secure phone. "This is Commander Walker. Authorization Omega-7 Delta. Commence Operation Awakening." Across the room, Lisa activated a special terminal that had remained dormant until now. On the screen, a simple message appeared. "Mothership systems engaging. Primary power online." 240,000 miles away, on the far side of the moon, something enormous began to stir. The Graken ultimatum had expired. Earth had 24 hours to submit, and that time was now gone. In orbit, the alien vessels moved into attack formation, their weapon systems powering up as they targeted Earth's major defense installations. Indy, the command bunker beneath Colorado, Commander Tom Walker, Dr. Lisa Reed, and Major Jack Stone stood before a wall of monitors displaying the unfolding crisis. Military leaders and government officials from around the world joined via secure channels, their faces grim with the knowledge of what was about to happen. "All Graken vessels are in position," reported a technician. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding our immediate surrender. The time for talking is over," Major Stone said. "They never intended to negotiate. This was always going to end in either our submission or a fight." The President of the United States appeared on the main screen. "Commander Walker, is Project Mothership ready?" Tom straightened his uniform. "Yes, Madam President. All systems are operational. Crew is standing by." "Then you have my authorization. God help us all." Tom nodded to Lisa, who entered a series of commands into her terminal. On the screen, a countdown appeared. 5, 4:59, 4:58. "What will the Graken do when they see it?" someone asked. "Panic, I hope," Stone replied with a grim smile. Lisa's fingers flew over her keyboard. Transmitting activation codes to all global stations now. Mothership power at 60% and rising. As the countdown continued, Tom addressed the assembled leaders. For 15 years, while we explored space peacefully, we prepared for the possibility that we might not be alone, and that what we found might not be friendly. Project Mothership was our insurance policy. How could we have built something that could challenge the Graken? Asked the Chinese premier. Their technology is far beyond ours, Stone smiled, not entirely beyond. In 2029, something crashed in the Pacific Ocean. What we recovered gave us a technological leap forward of at least a century. We've been reverse engineering and improving upon it ever since. And the Graken know nothing about it? Asked the German chancellor. Nothing, Lisa confirmed. We kept it completely compartmentalized. No digital records, no satellites involved in the recovery, no electronic trail. Just paper, isolated systems, and people we could trust absolutely. The countdown reached 1. Mothership power at full capacity, Lisa announced. All systems. Ready? Tom picked up a secure phone. This is Commander Walker to Mothership Control. Execute emergence protocol. Authorization. Earth stands. On screens around the world, people watched in awe as something impossible began to happen. The surface of the moon, the dark side that faced away from Earth, began to crack. Fissures spread across the lunar surface, dust and debris floating upward in the airless environment. In orbit, the Graken vessels paused their attack preparations as their sensors detected the massive energy surge coming from the moon. Several ships broke formation to investigate the phenomenon. They've noticed, Stone said with satisfaction. Too late. The fractures on the lunar surface widened, and then, slowly at first but with gathering speed, something emerged from within the moon itself. A massive structure, sleek and deadly, pushed upward through the lunar crust. It rose higher and higher until it hovered above the cratered surface. Earth's mothership had awakened. The vessel dwarfed anything the Graken had deployed. Its surface gleamed with a silvery blue light, and engines larger than entire cities pulsed with energy. What had been hidden within the moon for years was now revealed. Humanity's greatest technological achievement. My God, breathed one of the military generals. It's beautiful. In the Graken command vessel, General Dorn stared at the readings with disbelief. The sensor data couldn't be correct. The primitive humans couldn't possibly have built something of this scale and power. Yet there it was, rising from the moon, its energy signatures unlike anything in the Graken database. All vessels attack formation, Dorn commanded. Target the human construct, full weapons discharge. The Graken fleet responded immediately, repositioning to face this new threat. Energy weapons charged, missiles were armed, and shields went to maximum power. Back in the bunker, Tom turned to Lisa. Time to show them what we can do. Lisa nodded and opened a channel to the mothership. This is control to mothership. You are cleared for command transfer. Repeat, you are cleared for command transfer. A new voice responded over the speakers, strong and confident. This is Mothership. Command transfer acknowledged. Bridge is ready to receive primary command team. Tom looked at the others. This is it. Dr. Reed and I will transfer to the mothership. Major Stone, you'll coordinate ground operations. Stone nodded grimly. Good hunting. Within minutes, Tom and Lisa were aboard a special transport craft, launching from a hidden facility in the mountains. The small vessel accelerated at speeds that would have been impossible with conventional technology, streaking toward the moon. As they approached, the true scale of the mothership became apparent. The vessel was over 5 miles long, with multiple layers of armor and weapon systems visible along its hull. A hangar bay opened to receive their transport, swallowing it effortlessly. When they emerged onto the bridge, they found it humming with activity. Crew members who had trained for years in secret facilities around the world operated advanced systems with practiced efficiency. The bridge itself was a marvel of technology, with holographic displays and control systems that responded to thought as well as touch. "Commander on deck," announced the officer in charge. Tom stepped forward, surveying what was now his command. "Status report. All systems operational, sir. Shields at full capacity. Weapons systems armed and ready. The Graken fleet is moving. To engage." Tom took his position in the command chair. "Open a channel to all Graken vessels." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Tom's voice was steady as he delivered humanity's message. "Attention Graken forces. This is Commander Tom Walker of Earth's United Defense Fleet. Your vessels are in violation of Earth space. You were warned. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." On the main screen, General Dorn's alien face appeared, reflective eyes burning with anger. "This deception changes nothing, human. Your vessel, impressive as it may be, cannot stand against the might of the Graken Alliance. Surrender, now, and we may yet be merciful." Tom looked to Lisa, who had taken her position at the science station. She nodded, confirming what they had suspected. The Graken were afraid. "We will not surrender," Tom replied calmly. "Earth has chosen freedom. This is your final warning." Dorn's face contorted with rage. "Then you have chosen extinction. All vessels, open fire." The space between the moon and Earth lit up as dozens of Graken ships launched their attack. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked toward the mothership. Tom remained calm. "Defensive countermeasures. Non-lethal demonstration protocol." The mothership's shields absorbed the Graken assault without visible effort. Then, with precision that stunned even its human creators, the vessel fired a series of pulses that enveloped one Graken battlegroup after another. The alien ships didn't explode or break apart. Instead, they simply went dark, their systems completely neutralized, left drifting harmlessly in space. General Dorn's face showed shock for the first time. "What have you done?" "We disabled your ships without destroying them," Tom explained. "Your crews are unharmed. We could have destroyed them and you, but that's not who we are." Lisa stepped forward. "We warned you, General. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war. The choice is yours." Dorn's reflective eyes narrowed as he considered this unexpected development. Around him, his officers reported more bad news. The humans had deployed a defensive grid throughout their solar system, and more Earth vessels were emerging from hidden locations. The tide had turned. The hunters had become the hunted. And the Graken suddenly found themselves facing something they had not encountered in centuries, an opponent who might actually defeat them. The stars seemed unnaturally bright from the observation deck of Earth's mothership. Commander Tom Walker stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching as the disabled Graken vessels were towed into holding positions by smaller Earth craft. It had been 3 days since the mothership's dramatic emergence from its lunar hiding place, and the immediate threat had been neutralized. But Tom knew it wasn't over. "They're sending a distress call," Dr. Lisa Reed said, as she joined him at the viewport. "Our long-range sensors just picked it up. Encoded transmission directed toward the Graken home system." Tom nodded. He had expected this. "How long until their reinforcements arrive?" "Based on the communication patterns, we estimate 2 weeks, maybe less if they have faster ships waiting at the edge of our solar system." The door to the observation deck slid open, and Major Jack Stone entered, his face showing signs of fatigue, after coordinating Earth's ground defenses nonstop. "The defense grid is at 80% deployment," he reported. "We've got coverage of all major approach vectors to Earth, and the Mars colony is now protected as well." Tom turned from the viewport. "And the prisoners?" "General Dorn is being cooperative in his own way," Stone replied with a hint of a smile. He's still shocked that primitives managed to outmaneuver the mighty Graken Alliance. Lisa pulled up a holographic display showing the solar system. Small blue dots represented Earth's newly revealed defense platforms, while red markers indicated the projected approach of Graken reinforcements. "We need to use these 2 weeks wisely," she said. "The mothership gives us an advantage, but the Graken will adapt. They'll analyze what happened and develop countermeasures." Tom nodded. "Then we need to keep surprising them." He turned to Stone. "What have we learned from the captured ships?" Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they led us to believe, Stone said. Much of their power comes from numbers and intimidation. They've conquered so many worlds that most species surrender before putting up a real fight. In other words, they're bullies, Lisa added. And no one stood up to them in a long time. Tom smiled. Until now. The next 2 weeks passed in a flurry of activity. Earth's nations, once divided by politics and borders, united fully under the threat of invasion. The mothership became the center of operations, with additional crew arriving daily to man its sophisticated systems. Lisa led a team of scientists in studying the captured Graken technology, making breakthroughs that would have taken decades, under normal circumstances. Each discovery was immediately implemented into Earth's defenses. Tom spent hours in tactical meetings, developing strategies based on what they now knew about Graken warfare. The aliens relied heavily on overwhelming force and psychological intimidation, tactics that wouldn't work against an enemy who refused to be cowed. On the 14th day, the sensors lit up. The Graken reinforcements had arrived. A fleet 3 times larger than the first wave. They're taking position near Jupiter's orbit, reported the sensor officer. 137 vessels, including what appears to be their version of a dreadnought. Tom took his place in the command chair. All stations, battle readiness. Major Stone, is the defensive grid fully operational? Stone's face appeared on the communications screen. Yes, Commander. All platforms are online and awaiting your orders. Dr. Reed, what's the status of our special project? Lisa looked up from her console. Ready for deployment on your command. Tom nodded. Then it's time to make our move. He turned to the communications officer. Open a channel to the Graken fleet. The main screen flickered to life, revealing not General Dorn, but a larger, more imposing Graken. Its skin was darker, with markings that suggested higher rank or status. I am High Commander Krell of the Graken Alliance, the alien announced. Your resistance is noted but futile. The full might of our alliance now stands against you. Surrender your vessel and accept our terms or face extinction. Tom met the alien's reflective gaze without flinching. High Commander, we've heard these threats before. Your first fleet made the same claims right before we disabled their ships without firing a single lethal shot. Krell's face remained impassive. A temporary setback. We have studied your tactics and technology. Your advantage of surprise is gone. Is it? Tom asked calmly. You assume you know what we're capable of because you've seen one demonstration. That would be a dangerous assumption. Without waiting for a response, Tom gave the order. Execute Operation Starfall. Throughout the solar system, Earth's defense platforms activated simultaneously. But instead of firing weapons, they released thousands of small objects, each no larger than a baseball. These devices accelerated to incredible speeds, surrounding the Graken fleet in a 3-dimensional grid pattern. Krell's eyes narrowed. What is this? Some primitive attempt at a minefield? Lisa stepped forward. Not mines, High Commander, quantum displacement nodes. Technology we reverse-engineered from studying your ships but improved upon. As if on cue, the nodes activated. Space itself seemed to shimmer around the Graken vessels. Some of the alien ships suddenly found themselves miles from their previous positions, their carefully planned formation shattered. Impossible, Krell hissed. You cannot have mastered spatial manipulation to this degree. We're full of surprises, Tom replied. And here's another one. Major Stone, you may proceed. The mothership's engines flared to life, but instead of conventional movement, the massive vessel simply vanished and reappeared moments later directly behind the Graken dreadnought. Stone's voice came over the comm. Transpositional drive functioning perfectly, Commander. We can jump anywhere in the solar system almost instantly. The Graken fleet scrambled to respond, but their formations were broken, their commanders confused by tactics they had never encountered. The smaller Earth vessels, equipped with technologies stripped from the captured Graken ships, engaged with precision and coordination. You should study your opponents more carefully, Tom told Krell as the battle unfolded. Humans have been preparing for this moment not for years but for generations. Every science fiction story, every space battle we imagined, they were all rehearsals for this day. Lisa had been working at her console during this exchange. She looked up with excitement. "Commander, I've located it. The Graken command ship. It's hiding behind the dreadnought and I've found its weakness." The battle raged for hours across the solar system. The Graken, despite their numbers and experience, found themselves constantly outmaneuvered. The mothership would appear, strike, and vanish before they could respond effectively. Earth's defense platforms neutralized ship after ship without destroying them, leaving the alien crews alive but powerless. Finally, Tom gave the order they had been waiting for. "Target the command ship. Precision strike on the coordinates Dr. Reed has identified." The mothership fired a single pulse that passed harmlessly through the dreadnought's shields, but struck the command ship at exactly the right point. The vessel's systems went dark immediately. "Channel to High Commander Krell," Tom ordered. When the alien's face appeared again, the arrogance was gone. For the first time, the Graken leader looked uncertain. "Your command ship has been disabled," Tom stated calmly. "Your fleet is in disarray. We could destroy you all, but that's not our way. Instead, I invite you to meet, face to face, to discuss terms." "Terms?" Krell repeated as if the word was unfamiliar. "Yes, High Commander. Not your surrender, and not ours. Something new, a genuine alliance. One based on mutual respect, not domination." 6 hours later, in a neutral meeting space aboard the International Space Station, the future of both species was decided. The Graken, unused to negotiating as equals, found themselves facing a united humanity that offered peace but would not accept subjugation. "Your species is unexpected," Krell admitted as the treaty was finalized. "In all our conquests, we have never encountered your combination of technological innovation and restraint." "It's called humanity," Lisa explained. "We fight when we must, but we prefer to build rather than destroy." As news of the treaty spread across the Graken alliance, other subjugated species took notice. Earth became a symbol of resistance, proof that the Graken could be challenged and defeated through ingenuity and courage. The mothership remained in orbit around Earth, a guardian and a reminder of what humanity could achieve when united. Commander Walker, standing once again on the observation deck, watched as the first diplomatic exchange vessels from both worlds prepared for departure. "Do you think they'll honor the treaty?" Stone asked, joining him at the viewport. "They will," Tom replied confidently, "because they know what happens if they don't." Lisa approached with a data tablet. "The quantum communications network is online. We can now stay in contact with every human outpost in the solar system instantaneously. And beyond soon enough," Tom added. "The stars are open to us now." The three stood in silence for a moment, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath them, blue, green and beautiful, the planet they had defended against impossible odds. "They mocked our warnings," Tom said quietly, "until they felt the roar of our mothership." Lisa smiled. "And now the galaxy knows. Earth stands united, Earth stands strong, and Earth stands free." In the vast darkness of space, humanity had found its voice, and the stars themselves had listened.